Welcome to the MT podcast. Myself, Mr Wileycat, aka the voice of reason. To my right, we have. Okay, and next to laughter, we have.
More laughter.
To the other side, we have.
They came true.
It's talking to you, brother.
I'm talking to you, brother. Me? Yes, you, brother. Wow, brother. Talking to you, brother.
Man like Tongo, you don't know. At his Tongo Instagram, add me. What?
Indeed. And next to him, we have.
Sirelli, ever so slightly broken, but not as broken as this.
Yes. Honestly.
Wow.
And going back to that side of the room, we have.
Citrus, aka known as yaga yo. It's the Citrus in the house. We're burning up the show.
And next to him, we have.
Oh
Lord.
All right, warm now.
And next to him, we have.
Buddy in the building, aka the original truth. And where he got his voice of reason from.
I've been saying the
It's
voice of
AKA.
reason for a little minute, you know.
Little minute now.
I don't know, you know. I don't understand. People were saying I didn't have a slogan. I've now dropped a slogan, and now it's an issue. I
Because
don't
we're going with the
understand.
whole AKA thing. That was my thing.
Listen. The AKA was being used before you know. Let's not go back to the recordings because it will be quite interesting when you play it back.
I love when
Shouts out-
Buddy calls for the, when Whitey calls for the recordings, you know. But they haven't met you in the past. You know?
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. The recordings.
They're like your friend that ain't got your best.
Listen, the recordings.
Straight in it.
The recordings are there. You know how bad it is? Speaking about recordings, if you can remember, before we had COVID, we was definitely able to say the first person with COVID in the country was on the podcast. Sitting in
Sirelli.
that corner. Before COVID was even a thing. We knew who had COVID. And it's documented. Shouts out to Rain_Nelson_445 who's logged in and logged on. Shouts out to everyone who is logged in and logged on the Instagram. Don't forget, we're going to be having the show recorded and shown on YouTube. Don't forget to jump in the conversations because that is what it's all about. So this week is a random week. It's a very, very random week. The initial subject was going to be the carnival aftermath. It was going to be the carnival aftermath.
Why are you using the word aftermath?
Because it was initially going to be talking about people's recovery, what carnival meant after carnival had happened.
Okay.
But we're slightly after the event. But we're still going to move with that and then migrate, go in whatever direction we're going to go in. In fact, you know what? We're going to go into any direction today. So that's what we're starting off with, and we're going off anywhere. So, carnival, for those of you that went, out of yous who went carnival?
I was there representing.
All of you. Okay.
All of us was there.
How long, you know what? All right, so, question. How long have you all gone carnival for?
Well, the first out of the four of us, it would have been myself and Sirelli first, probably. And that would have been... Why are you shaking your head?
I'm older than you.
Doesn't matter how old you are. You weren't allowed to travel on your own till you were 19.
Don't make me phone mum now and tell her
When she was going as a baby, I was going before you guys.
All right, Stephen invented Carnival. After Tongo invented Carnival.
I beg to differ.
Why so?
Because where I was born exactly inside of the carnival, and my mum used to take me to the carnival.
You was born on the road.
And how old are you?
How old was I?
How much older than you am I?
I'm saying to you, when I was going carnival.
No, this is irrelevant.
Yeah, when I was going carnival.
Boring. This is boring.
I was about roughly four to five.
He told you he was
Maybe
born on the route.
younger. Carry on.
Go on.
Unless you was a teenager going carnival on your own by then, boy, I'm out.
Go on.
So, as I was saying,
What the point?
those that went to Carnival, Sirelli and I was first, guaranteed. And then I would also then say that at those very early carnivals, and this is prior to me going there and standing up, holding my mum's hand, walking with the floats. I'm talking about actively being involved in Carnival. We were playing Steelpan the age of 14, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah,
And that's what brought us out there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because
about age 14, we started playing Steelpan.
So
Maybe
you've been
50.
going carnival for what I'm trying to get at, how many years roughly do you think you're
Consistently.
going to get?
Yeah, consistently.
For how many years? Roughly, just as a rough figure, how many years?
I'd easily say 30 plus years.
You do disagree that, yeah? Roughly about 30 years, yeah? Okay. How do you view Carnival from when you first went? Or not when you first went. Let me say from your first time of going as a teenager, adult, to now.
I was about to say, you got to load that question.
Yeah, no,
so many caveats for this boy.
No, that's why I'm saying from when you're, because I'm not looking at it as when you were a child, because as a child you go with your parents or whoever's taking you. Your first 3 times of freedom of going Carnival and experiencing Carnival for yourself.
With you and your boys kind of
Yes,
thing.
to how you experience Carnival now.
So when I first went Carnival, so there was Sunday and Monday, obviously, like as it is now. Monday was definitely Kids' Day, and Sunday was obviously Adults Day. And on Sunday, you wouldn't have any adult bands on the road. And that's what I remember. So on the Sunday, I would purposely go to a sound system, and I would always look for the Rush FM or the Cool FM stand. That's where I would go.
Any jungle stand.
Or Radigan. That's where I would go. That's the places that I would go and enjoy my Carnival on the Sunday. And on the Monday, we'd be on the road, either playing Steelpan, or let me track back. We used to do Panorama on the Saturday.
Sorry, explain for those who don't know, what is Panorama?
So Panorama is a Steelpan competition. So all the Steelpans that you see playing in Carnival, ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
The day before Carnival, all of the bands have a competition which is held in Kensal Rise, and it's band versus band. It gets voted on by judges and crowds and blah blah blah, and then each year, different band should be crowned, champions of Panorama. So that was our Saturday, and then Sunday we would go Kids' Day, and we'll probably look for a static sound. And then Monday, we'll play a little bit Steelpan in the morning and then follow a couple floats. And that's when the floats used to finish 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Wow. Okay.
So the migration of what it is now, when you see like big bands on the road on Sundays, and like you're seeing a lot of, say, Juve, which is where they got the paint and the powder and the oil. Like you're seeing a lot of, like the combination has been changed differently, and how it's viewed upon, even though they've tried to keep the culture insulated, I see it spilling out in different ways, which I'm not necessarily saying is a bad thing. It's just that you have to be, as soon as you start opening the door to one thing, the floodgates open, everything else comes through. So that would be my biggest observation, I would say.
Okay. You know, off the back of that, one thing I wanted to say, this year in particular, there was so much less pan floats. Like, for us, as you say, when we first started going pan, there used to be so many, in fact, all of the people who took part in the Panorama competition would be on the road.
Yeah, all of the Steelpans would normally be on the road.
Yeah, so there'll be so many floats going past, and there's no form of electrical aided amplification for the music. It's just Steelpan and a man and a cowbell and a drum kit.
Yeah.
And that would be, and you'd follow that float for half hour and be cool. You'd be jamming behind this float just with a rhythm section, because the pan players have all jumped off citrus. You play 2 or 3 tunes and you look at the arranger and it's like, you're getting 3 tunes out of me. After that, I'm gone. So you play your first tune, that goes on, he says play it again.
This tune probably could last 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, so you play it, then he'll be like, okay, play another tune, and then the tune that we play for Panorama. So just to kind of expand on what Dean said, on the Panorama nights, the song that we would play would be something that has been composed by an arranger, and it's 18 minutes long.
12
to 18, depending on how good and how much we get into it. And we will play that on the road. And it will be the first time after the competition that we get to play. And for some reason, maybe it's just me, but you'd play it better on the road.
On the road. Yeah.
There's no pressure.
There's no pressure in it.
You're just having fun. And side story, when we first started playing pan, this is how far back we go. People used to throw money at us on the floor. I remember playing pan and 50 pence.
Licking a face
licked
with a
my
pound.
money. I was like, right, you need to go buy me a munch. so that ain't happening no more. So that's the kind of progression that I've seen. It's come away from the what we would call the conventional kind of things that are directly associated with Carnival, and it's become much more of almost like a modern day Glastonbury, to be fair, with all these high-powered entertainment systems and all these things. It's really evolved. It's really evolved with technology.
So I suppose my question, because I've not gone Carnival for well over 10 years, and then before that, you're talking about maybe 8 or 9 years before that. So I used to go Carnival every year for about 15 years, something like that. So my question really is when it comes to my memories of Carnival was the fun, the jokes, the run up and down, the going to the sciences. It's pretty much all you're saying now. But the feedback people have been saying about this year's Carnival, I don't know if maybe it's because it was the first or it's the second one, isn't it? Second proper one since the lockdown. Yeah. Was it a good Carnival for you compared to the older Carnivals, or how would you compare it? Would you say that this year is top, like in the top ones you've been to, or is it different now?
It's changed a bit, but I don't know if it's changed a bit because of our age, or like you said, maybe the break between Carnival and people just evolving and say, look, we're onto new things now. But it's a lot younger,
which it should be. Let's be fair, innit?
Which is one side of it. And
sorry, when you say younger, what age range are you talking about for younger, roughly, for yourselves?
I would say I saw a lot of teenagers down there and 20s, I'd say, early 20s down there. I mean, there's one way of looking at it, saying it's good that they've followed the culture and they're able to sort of say, oh, we're into Soca, we're into carnival, like the carnivals and the culture. That side of things is really nice to look at. All right, to say that they're following it. The other side of looking at it is like, where's all the people that were our age? What are they doing now? Are they now no longer coming because they're seeing that there's so many youngers coming? Or are they just saying to themselves they've got better things to do that they don't want to come down there anymore? It's just different.
But they're tired.
More tired.
Straight up.
Well, shouts out to Comic Vic, because he says, the change is due to our age, in his opinion. So do you think that we're more looking at it as, because we're older, we're now looking at it as getting younger? Or when you're saying the ages you're saying, I remember going Carnival that age, and that was what I was mainly seeing. So is it not the same thing, but it's just that we're...
This is what I was saying.
But in all fairness, you can have 100 people of all different ages and they go to Carnival, and you
wouldn't even notice, innit?
Brother, you would have totally different experiences. As you rightly said a while ago, there are people who go and look for a stage, a static
sound.
And that's them. The whole Carnival, they're blessed. Hold 2 juice, 2 smoke, find their little stage that they like, and that's it. You got the people who used to be us, who would go Carnival and walk that route like it's the marathon. Like, we're going pacing around, finding different floats, staying with this float, having a dance, having a good time. All right, they've played 2 songs we don't like. We're leaving. We're going to another float. I will get to that float if the song that at that time when we get there is good, we stay. We have a look around, see who's there, if we see any friends that we know and stuff like that. But that was the experience. We could, back then, go from float to float, mingle with the masqueraders. Masqueraders are the people who participate with that float, i.e. have costumes, have a T-shirt, a part of that particular float, and have a good time. Now, you ain't getting close to those things. You're pushed back, you're out of it. And to be fair, that's how it should be. The people who are paying money and wearing costumes and stuff should be protected, should have their space. For us as teens back then, we didn't care about that. We wanted to be in where the fun was.
It's funny you say that, right? Because I do look back, and my period of Carnival and enjoying Carnival in a certain way, all right, is a lot shorter than yours, right? But that was one of my first experiences of Carnival. It was literally going against the float. The float was going to that way, we was going that way. So we were going opposite ways. And it was like we was walking against the Carnival and we was jumping with them, safe, jumping with them. And we was storming bands. The last 2 years, we've been helping our brethren with his band. And we've been the catalyst for saying, come out of the band. You ain't wearing a T-shirt, you've not got a band, come out of the band. And we're now pushing people. Yeah, the wristband. We're like, come out. Like,
explain what storming means.
Yeah, true. What does storming mean?
Similar to what Relly just said. Basically, jumping into a band that we're not representing. We're just there, got an MTT T-shirt on, walked into their band and said, yeah, I'm here. and I'm dancing, I'm raving with
Let's
the
be
people.
honest, we was following women in it. Let's be honest. There was no other incentive
Other than
about women and music.
Music.
Hold on, wine. Yeah, let's go. And Citrus and his poisonous bag.
Bruh.
If you see Citrus at Carnival, pretend like you don't know him and keep walking. Because he will give you something to drink.
Still makes sense.
That will stop you from
That's
going
why
to
I've
the
not
toilet for
gone
2 days.
carnival for the last 10 years. His poisonous bag. What is your poisonous bag?
It's not even poisonous.
Explain.
It's never
Explain.
poisonous.
But explain your bag.
It's actually really nice.
Explain your bag.
This year, do you know what's crazy?
Everyone liked it.
I gave, and this is gonna sound so mad. I gave less than a capful to people, and it was stopping people in their trap.
No conversation
Explain
after that.
your bag.
Breathe.
Nah, it wasn't even a
Explain
bag this
your
year.
bag.
It was a bottle this year.
What is your bag or bottle? What is it?
So each year, it's a very rare bush rum, a variation of a bush rum. This year, it wasn't a bush rum, but I couldn't tell you what this rum was. All I know, the rum was from Barbados.
Wasn't it a whiskey?
Bruh, this thing,
You just
it was
went with
so
something.
strong. If you left the cap off within half an hour to an hour, you'd lose 50% of it because it would have evaporated. It was that strong.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the amount of people that, all right, I'll take a sip. I'm like, go on then.
Set you up.
Straight
After
away.
that, no talking.
I never even got a sip of it.
Brother, you didn't miss out on anything.
You
Trust
had it
me.
before.
Is that the one that
Wow.
made
That made the
Ghost
one that made Ghost
choke?
stop speaking.
I never got none.
Yeah. After that, no talking. Just warm chest.
So as a quick question then, because we was talking earlier about
Shout out to Ghost.
the demographic of the the demographic of the carnival being of a certain age. Is there an age that we're all I can safely say we're all over the age of 40 here. I'm not going to expose no one's age, but all over the age of 40 here. Is there an age that we should be saying, you know what, it's for the younger lot, carnival, we've had our time of carnival, move on, let them have their time now?
I definitely think there is an age where the type of carnival you enjoy changes. So, as Buddy alluded to, saying that we're storming bands, being a 20-something-year-old doing that, it's fine. It's
Good
part of
times.
fun. Do you know what I mean? Being an old-ass man now with your old-ass self, trying to storm band, that don't make no
I'm
sense.
trying to scrub some young kid.
Yeah, trying to dance with a girl the same age as your daughter. That don't make no sense.
Shouts out to Lulu Fusion Life. She says, I'm not getting old, mate. I'm there every year. So in relation to what you're saying then, Citrus, and I'll ask the question of her and anyone who's actually on the live, at what point would you say that, you know what, I am getting old?
It's not, no, as I said, for me, it's not about I'm getting old. It's the type of carnival you go to changes.
Go
So
on.
what I was doing when I was 25 is different what I was doing when I was 35 and different what I'll be doing when I'm 45, if you get what I mean.
Would that
They'll
be the
get-
same thing for things like
I'll
going
give an
Raven
example.
as,
I'll
Raven
give
as
an
well, or
example.
just for carnival?
I'll give an example. My mum still goes to carnival. My mum holds a corner and she'll stand up in her corner with her one drink, with my aunts and a couple of my sisters and whatever else. They'll hold their little space and they've got a nice, safe spot that they'll stand, they can see the bands going past, have a good time. If she likes the look of a band, she might follow them up the road for a little bit, see it's getting rowdy, walk back. You know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? My mum does that, and she's in her late 60s. So to give you an example, it's just the type of carnival or the type of experience that you look for, you know. I definitely think that changes.
Yeah, because as I was saying, with the 100 people, going back to my example, 100 people going in having, you know, different experience. I speak to friends from work and stuff, and just colleagues. And
You know, Sirelli's just a name dropper, isn't it? I speak to friends from work. He didn't speak to no one from work.
Probably the same name.
Sirelli got caught on London Tonight or ITN News or something.
about me,
What do you mean, what do you mean?
about me.
Sirelli got caught on the news and one of his workmates says, I saw you. He tried to say it weren't me. They recorded it on Sky Plus. And sent him the footage.
Still wasn't me.
Wow.
You know the whole boat race
About me.
just there.
Everyone's participation changes. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think it's participation. I think it's your actual experience. Because you go carnival to experience it, don't you?
So what do you mean by participation then?
Right, so when you're younger, you go to maybe enjoy the women, get numbers, draw girls, whatever. As you get older, you're now...
I like your scale. Women, number, girls.
Girls, yes, indeed.
When you get a bit older, you more appreciate
Girls.
the essence of carnival, the costumes, the work putting into the bands, that sort of thing. As you get older again, you might join a band, be part of the background work of it, maybe start costume development or helping on the band and trucks itself, like we did this year. As you get older again, you might do what City's mum does and just hold the corner and watch everything happen. That's what I mean by the participation changes.
What's interesting, Lulu Fusion Life says, when I asked the question about when would she stop going, and I was asking everybody on the chat when we stop going, she says, it's part of my culture, I will never stop. She says, a true West Indian never stops. So is it down to the culture?
Well, to be fair,
For example, my mum wouldn't be going carnival because it's not part of my culture.
Right.
But your mum would go carnival. Is that because it's part of the culture or because she would just go carnival?
But, I think it's cultural because, I definitely think it's cultural because I'm thinking about my mum and she'd be complaining and moaning, whatever else, but she'll still have a little hip flask of rum. Do you know what I mean? She'll have her umbrella. Do you know what I mean? Her long coat and whatever else, because she's now got her, what's it called, Swiss Army utility belt for carnival to make sure whatever the outcome is, I can still go and I'm okay. Do you know what I mean? It's even as bad, one of my sisters is disabled and they walk with their little fold-out chair thing. So if it gets a bit much before when she used to go, she used to just back out her little chair, got a little corner at one of the less congested parts of carnival and just hold her space there. So, yes, I would say your experience changes and culturally it can be different. And depending on your culture will depend on the experience that you're looking for. However, what I would say, what I do commend as well, is the Carnival Trust have tried to include different types of carnival experience, but also keep it very carnival based. So what I mean when I say this, for example, you will now find a Samba band. Do you know what I mean? You'll find an African drumming group on the road. And they have a massive following because they don't just drum, they also choreograph and dance. And when I saw them this year, it was massive. I couldn't believe how many people were there. And in my head, I was like, I never saw this growing up. Do you get what I'm saying? So culturally, it's evolving. So when you are allowing, if we're gonna say black culture or Caribbean culture to be inclusive, I think it's great. Do you know what I mean? Even you see other types of cultures taking place and getting what you'd call a pass to be able to have a float at Carnival. So I don't think it's bad. One of the conversations that are coming up on the music scene in the soca world is, should you allow music outside of soca to be played on the road at Carnival?
That's, you know what? It's like you read my mind, because what I was going to say was, like I said, I haven't been for years, but I remember when I was going, this is years ago, there was a Nigerian corner. There was like a, I don't know what road it was, but there was an area where you would have it literally was the Nigerian corner.
Always have a Nigerian corner somewhere.
Everywhere we go, we will put our flag down and say, we are here. And we will let everyone know we are here.
We don't have a solution
That's
corner.
right. That's right.
Nigerian corner.
And we had a Nigerian corner. This is before Afro beats had blown up. I remember last year, there was a lot of talk about Afro beats being a carnival, and there was a big issue about it. So what I wanted to find out was, this year, what was the makeup of music and how was it
the float
taken?
The float we were with only played soca, and I appreciate that because do you know what I mean? Every other music gets its platform every other day of the year. So if soca can get a 1 day out of the year or 2 days out of the year, let us have it. It's fine. Don't get me wrong, the static sounds, you'll get like a Jashaka sound who's playing dub, you'll get a hip hop sound, you'll get, do you know what I mean, a pop culture sound, you'll get a garage and a house sound. You even had, as you said, an Afro beats and Amapiano stage, which, do you know what I mean? I think everything has its place. However, let's keep all of our cultures together, but keep certain parts of it sacred so you don't dilute it. Because if you dilute it, as you know, eventually it'll get to the point of where you're not gonna hear our music.
You won't recognise it
anymore. You won't recognise it.
Because for some people, Carnival is the only time of year they actually hear soca music.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's interesting. So in the chat, shouts out to Lulu Fusion Life. She says, no, I don't think they should play other music on the floats. Comic Vic says, Soca/Caribbean music has to be the #1 genre at Carnival. Even Afro beats is better than Soca.
But
He's a comic. He's a comic. It doesn't matter. Whatever he says, we know it's supposed. He's supposed to say jokes. Boom, boom. At the end. But he didn't write boom, boom. I don't understand it.
Oh Lord, goodness me! So,
wow, confusion.
I'm gonna try and because it's a lot of different elements to the carnival conversation, and I'm sure we know how this always goes. Every year you'll see articles in the Daily Mail and the Telegraph, whoever, talking about the various things that have gone wrong in carnival.
The headline this year said Notting Hell.
yeah.
Yes,
Rather than Hill.
Yeah.
right.
They're trying to slur
Yep.
the word, saying that there were
7
8 stabbings.
Yes.
7 or 8 stabbings. I
7
can't-
stabbings. One was fatal.
There was none.
No,
Not
fatal.
sorry, fatal, but very close to fatality. He
Critical
was-
condition.
critical. That's
Yeah.
thank you very much.
There was 7 or 8 stabbings, 308
308 arrests.
arrests, I think, something like that. And then the crazy thing is, they covered the carnival, and the photo they used is a young guy wielding a machete. I mean, a zombie
Rambo
knife.
knife or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
So when I looked at it, I thought to myself, okay, one person doing madness is one too many.
Yeah,
Right? And 300 arrests, if that's what it needed to be, then arrest them. Arrest 1,000. I couldn't care less. Yeah? Now, the narrative that's being pushed to say, this has happened. Oh my gosh, Carnival is evil, Carnival is horrible. As a stat man,
go on,
Wiley, you're a stat man.
go on.
So as a stat man, there were less arrests at Carnival than there were at Glastonbury.
I wanted to ask the question because you mentioned how many arrests and how many attacks there were. Is that over the 1 day or 2 days?
Over the whole weekend.
Over both days? Okay.
Yeah. So there were less arrests at Carnival than at Glastonbury. Yet still, you never see a headline saying Glastonbury or
And
whatever.
Glastonbury had a definite where someone overdosed last year and not last year. Was it last year? Yeah, last year and this year.
2 died this year.
Wow.
Was it 2 this year?
Wow.
So
I mean, so
And it's got a 10% attendance Glastonbury compared to Carnival.
Do you know how many people
sorry,
at Carnival?
say that again?
10% attendance because they're 200,000.
so
Oh, so they're 200,000 and they're 2
And
million.
it's 2 million over the 2
Right.
days.
Right,
at
okay.
Carnival. Yeah.
So my only adverse thing to what you're saying, right, is growing up, and there was a long period where, and I suppose Tongo will be able to vouch for this as well, didn't want to go Carnival. And one of the reasons I didn't want to go Carnival was because I made this point to you one time, Steve, is somebody always gets stabbed. Somebody always gets killed. Why am I going up there just to be another statistic? Something happened to somebody, I don't want to go. That used to be my big thing. I mean, until I came out, the first time when I came out with you guys, it was like, why do I mean, I stopped going when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was with my mum. I was safe as far as I was concerned. And then now you're telling me I have to go out there on my own. What for? I went,
Can I poke a pin in that?
go on.
Do you know what I saw at Carnival? What royally pissed me off? There was a woman there, right? She had hot pants and a little top with, it must have been a 6-month baby strapped to her and a pushchair with 2 other kids
On the Monday.
on the Monday on the road at Labbook Grove, where if you haven't been there,
Where everything
it's
turns around the
the
corner,
most-
innit?
No, it's a long straight.
Okay.
But it's so
Yes.
congested.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It for some reason, that part of Labbock Grove, bottlenecks. And you get so, and I was just watching her. She's screaming, like, my baby, my baby. I'm looking at her, trying to control this pushchair.
Which one?
And I'm like, why have you put yourself
In a
this
situation you
position?
can't handle.
I just looked at her, I was just like, where's your brain at? Do you get what I mean? Like,
But in their defense, Citrus, not everybody knows or understands
that there's
what-
going to be 2 million people
that there's going to be
coming
2 million.
over.
Quick question. Was that on the Sunday or the Monday?
This is on the Monday, but
on
sorry,
the Monday.
So sorry, I was actually at this moment I lost Buddy. So when he said it, I was just like, oh yeah. So what we had to do is we all picked up the pushchair, like a group of guys picked up the pushchair, and she's holding onto the wheel as well. and we're trying to walk her through to the side. And it's only because, obviously, people see the pushchair in the sky, they're getting rowdy, and now moving the crowd out the way forcefully to get her to a safety spot. And I was just looking at her in my head, and I was just thinking, imagine you fell with your very young child in front of you. Do you get what I mean?
Imagine there was
a
trouble.
stampede.
And going back to Buddy's point, say, imagine if there was trouble. So what made you, when you now started to go carnival, what made you now say, you know what, actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was? Or what changed your perception from when you was going?
Rum.
Apart from the obvious thing.
Rum and vodka.
Boom, see.
A piece of rum and then I was all over. No, what it was...
Tongo and citrus.
Nah,
It's what changed
but the way it was is, I suppose as well, it was, I went and I felt safe. We went behind the floats. It wasn't as bad as in my head. I used to, when the little times that I did go down there, a couple of times when I was with my boys, a little bit younger, it was like, I went down there, we used to go to sounds. We used to just stay with sounds. But there's always a stabbing down there and a fight and whatever else not. And I was like, rah, what's the point of coming down there? Unless you're coming down there with your man them in a big squad, then what are you going down there for? Like, because you're going to get into something. And you see the guys in the corner and they've got their dogs there and they've got their tops off. And I'm like, it's always a beef thing. Everyone's after something that they want to beef. So I got in my head, going carnival was long. In my head, it was definitely long. I went out for the first time with these guys and it was like, I had a great time. The next year, I decided I just wanted to go after that. We started going, then we started following floats and started knowing more people in the carnival scene, I suppose, in the Soca scene. And then after that, it was just like, rah, I adapted to it. Then now I realised, now going after all of these years, I realised to myself, following a float, I felt a lot more safer because it was very simple. Like, I'm with my float, I'm with my band, or I'm with a band, or I'm following a band, or like we did before, which was storming bands in essence, all right? But we was with someone and then we'd go. We're not standing on the street corner waiting for the trouble to come and lick us. And that made a big difference. So it was... So reading the stories and how they've put it out there in the newspaper, which is going back to your point, it's that those newspaper articles are very telling because they do paint a picture for somebody that doesn't go.
Because you have to remember, these are national press papers.
Yeah.
So this is going out to Lancashire. This is going out to the Midlands. This is going out to Wales.
Because you've got people, expats who go abroad.
And you've got people that are reading this stuff online
Immigrants.
and whatever else.
Immigrants. Don't. I hate that term expat because we only ever use it for a certain demographic of people. Yeah. Immigrants elsewhere. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, the expat.
No. For me, it's not a bugbear for me. I hate that because you never hear us being called expats, but I hear everyone else being called expats when they go elsewhere. So I just hate that term.
How about
Sorry.
if I just call you expat from now on?
Fine. The one-armed expat. Yeah, indeed.
But this is the thing, it does go like when it starts going abroad, people start seeing the news and what it's saying to you. It blatantly makes you feel like don't go. You know what I mean? And every year, like you just said, somebody gets stabbed. There's rumors that someone was fatally stabbed now, and and it comes out like, and it's like rah. Somebody you get up in the morning, you get dressed, you're on your way to go and Bacchanal, enjoy yourself, whatever else not, and it's like rah. One of you lot might not come home.
But let me throw some different types of light on this. Ignoring what happened at Carnival, do you know how many people get arrested in the capital on a daily basis anyway? Do you know how many people get stabbed in the capital on a daily basis anyway? Do you know how many people get killed in the capital on a daily basis?
Or at other festivals.
Anyway. However, because it's this event, we're going to extract this information and use it as the narrative to drive a different type of agenda. You have to remember, Notting Hill wasn't sought after back in the late 50s and the early 60s.
Which is why it started there, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? It weren't sought after. It wasn't there. So they picked a spot to say, yeah, we're going to do our own thing just here. Do you know what I mean? We're going to do it on this street. We're going to have our own little parade. And it's grown and developed from there. So now, when I'm seeing the Metropolitan Police coming out, doing a whole, what's it called?
Expo.
Press conference, saying how, let's move it to Hyde Park, then it can be controlled, and blah, blah, ticketed event, and rare. I was thinking...
It's just they want to make money out of it, innit?
At what point... Do you know how much money Notting Hill Carnival makes?
Yeah, but they're not directly making that money.
93 million over the 2 days.
That's how much it brings to the capital.
sterling.
Yeah, that's what it brings to the capital.
But,
that's not.
There's not taxes on that.
That's what I'm saying. So if they put in somewhere like Hyde Park and they say, perfect example, Panorama, that event where myself and you play that for free is now a ticketed event. Minimum £20 a ticket.
I don't know if it's that much. It was like 5.
No.
Yeah,
Inflation, bro. So if they can do that to Carnival, and we're saying that there's over 2 million people coming to Carnival. Now, don't get me wrong. If that does happen and it does go to Hyde Park, you're not getting 2 million people. Straight away, people are going to be like, £20 a ticket, or whatever the case may be. But no, I'm not going. And they're using the excuse that it will save lives and it's not going to make any difference. Unless you're going to go through the whole Glastonbury process where you apply a year in advance, you send your passport off with free pictures and all these kind of things. It's not going to make a difference. I get a ticket, I go.
So what was interesting, because you touched on to that point, was that's what the Tory mayoral candidate said. I think her name's Suzanne Hall. She said that if she became mayor, part of her manifesto plans that she wants to do is to move it to a park.
She ain't coming there. She can get
You
out of it.
say that, but let's not think that can't happen, because the way that the politics is going, we can't say they won't win the next election in London because of how certain things are going. You, Les, we're not going to go down that road, but you know how the feedback of that is. Very, very quickly, you could find a situation where that would be the case. And one thing she said about Carnival last year, which created a lot of kickback, was she described it as a celebration of Caribbean culture was dangerous, and she said there were problems with crime in the black community. That's what she said last year. And in this year, she's saying that she wants to get it moved to a park. So there's nothing to say if that she was voted in, that wouldn't be something they're trying to push. And remember, we've been hearing this park talk for the better part of about 20 years.
Yeah.
And you know what the worst thing about it is? They're going to use residents from the area where Carnival is as part of the panel to say, should we have it in a park or not?
Yeah.
So straight away, you're starting on an avenue where I live here. Every year for 2 days, I have to board up my yard. Some people go away because they just can't be in that kind of environment. So of course they're going to say...
You say that.
yes and no.
There's a lot of people within that area that move in that area and live in that area that make a ton load of money from living there. This is my toilet. I'm cooking food and I'm selling it, and whatever they do, it's like...
But those people won't make the board.
I heard that
They won't make the board.
I had to get paid £3,000 to move out for the weekend.
That's
The
interesting.
residents. I'm not sure if that's actually true.
Potentially.
Paid by who?
Probably renting their yard out.
Apparently council
Airbnb.
or whoever, I don't know exactly. But apparently. Or maybe they get just hotel to move away or something. I don't know.
But it will happen.
Apparently some sort of...
Regardless if she gets elected or not. It will happen because it's a very lucrative money opportunity for them.
You know the funniest thing is, and it's probably a question to ask yourselves or ourselves, is would it stop us from going if we knew that it was a ticketed event?
Well, hold on, just because Tongo made a point. You know, we'd like to have the facts and figures. Homeowners in the borough of Kensington and Chelsea are given £3,000 per household to leave for the weekend of Notting Hill Carnival for the inconvenience. £3,000 for the weekend.
Can we buy a yard there?
Bruv.
Sounds like a month's mortgage is already covered.
Bruv.
£3,000.
Airbnb the rest of the year.
Wow.
We'll have somewhere to stay for Carnival.
It'll be a mass camp. It'll be a mass camp from June straight through to the end of
Come
August.
and get your costumes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw a bit of a curveball, yeah, because this is all quite serious topics we're talking about here. But going to Carnival,
Dancing.
do you have a hall pass for dancing with people at Carnival?
No.
No.
Wait, let's ask my man here because he started off with women dancing and then girls.
Yeah, ask him.
When you got them kind of maths, you need to tell us what's going on.
It's not about whole pass. It's
What's a whole pass, by the way?
Hall pass is freedom to do whatever you want to do for, I guess, let me just say...
Wait. Do whatever you want to do.
I will just say, I'm making it as broad as possible. Dance, whatever, whine, whatever
What's
it may
whatever?
be.
We need details, bro.
I don't go Carnival, so I'm just making a
Jay wants to know clarification. Hey, you want the definition, Jay, yeah?
Jay is chuckling so much he started to get the cameras all
Jay's
mixed
like,
up, you know?
What? Everything, anything. Yeah, we need to know.
But that's basically what it is. Giving license to dance, walk up, wine with people, whatever it may be at Carnival. So, over to our expert, as you pointed to, Tongo. Tongo, what's your views?
My view depends on your relationship. You will have your agreement or your situation. You might have a partner where they're just not on you dance with people, period. You might have a partner where they don't mind. You might have a partner that limits, like, as long as you're not, like, I don't know, dancing with them for the whole of the carnival, it's okay. It really depends. Me, I'm now, I am now, nowadays, my older years, I now work according to what my partner is happy with. Where before, regardless of what she was happy with, I was dancing with whoever I wanted to, and that was it. And that's real.
So you've got a code of conduct for Carnival?
No.
CCC?
No code of conduct. Just that.
CCC,
What
I like that, yeah.
If somebody comes and jumps on me, if I'm in a relationship and someone comes and jumps on me, and the person I'm with not really on me dance with people in the carnival, then obviously I make the dance as limited as possible. But I'm not gonna now go out and look for as many wines as possible like when I was in the 20s.
Do you use your hands?
Do I use my hands for what?
I want to know. What's it?
Use my hands for what?
Yeah, what's that? Clarity, bro. What's
What, bro?
Do you know where that there was a meme guy around, did it? And he said, "Oh, certain ways you're supposed to dance." And they had one of them saying, "Oh, you don't use your hands if you got a girl." So I said, "Do you use your hands?" That was the only reason I put it out there to you.
Okay, so do you use your hands?
Bro, why are you asking me? I asked you a question.
But man started stirring. But
I asked you a question. Though. Let me ask you. If I wanted to ask myself the question, I'd have put it up to myself.
you know what? That was a good 8. He's on fire.
So, shouts out to Comics Vic says, there's no damn hall pass, give my tea. She's lucky I let her go. El Zeno says, as long as you're not stealing the wine, it's all good. So, but here's the thing.
If you get the wine, then it's no good. Stealing the wine is the whole purpose.
So here's the thing, though. So again, like I said,
right?
I understand, and I don't know because it's not something that I grew up with, but I know when I went to St. Lucia, I went there when it was carnival season, it really was about people just dancing and having fun, and whining, dancing with people was all part of the whole...
Did you whine?
No, I didn't.
Did you try to whine?
No, I didn't.
Did you Afrobeats them?
No, we wasn't in the... What it was, one of my...
There for carnival, you didn't go carnival?
No, one of my missus' cousin was in the one of the bands. So we was there supporting her in the band, basically. But the point of the matter was that...
Okay, so there was enough women there, there's bare drink, it was in the sun, and you're telling me not one woman tried to dance with you?
No.
Or was your woman standing there with you with a bucky?
No. You know what it is? It wasn't...
You like this with him?
It wasn't... You know, you have to understand, if you're not a person who goes and enjoys the culture of carnival, I'm not as engrossed or as involved as maybe people who would be more involved would be. So me...
Lies.
Apology. No, hold on, one second. I went, for example, to a Soca thing where they had all the paint. I hate paint. All the paint, I can't stand it.
Juve.
Yeah. So they had like an event in the park.
I love your casual racism, you know that.
No, I'm telling you, but I'm
unconscious bias.
There's no unconscious bias.
Paint.
But I'm telling you what it was that I experienced. So my experience of it wasn't to be, carnival, something that I'm gonna be enjoying in that manner. Whereas for someone else who, if you'd have gone carnival or yourselves have gone carnival, who it is your culture, you enjoy it, you're going to have a different expectation and a different enjoyment of carnival. So for me, it was more like seeing the things. I enjoyed it. Whether I enjoyed it as someone whose culture it is, as someone who...
It's your culture, bro. You put on war paint or your ancestors put on war paint.
But this is the thing, I don't know the story of carnival. So I can't say to you it's my culture or not. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I can't even align myself and say I went there as a tourist, not as
I get what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, I apologise,
Go on.
but you're saying you went there as a tourist. even there's Caucasians that come to our team.
On the
They will
line.
stand up on the side and they will get involved. And sometimes you will just get involved by just standing there, just bopping your head. Someone will come up and whine with you. Like unless you're sitting there going, no, you're AK, no, not me.
And
Yeah,
someone
Liverpool
comes
touch
to
it on
whine.
this way.
And remember as well, I'm a person who doesn't really enjoy soca. So it's not...
You're not a real DJ.
You're a proper sad sack, innit?
No,
you're not a real
You're
DJ.
talking to someone who doesn't really...
Okay, I'm
So
gonna
it's a
help
different-
you out. I'm gonna help you out.
Liverpool tracksuit.
No, wait, Citrus. Somebody on the live says he was out there doing research.
Shouts out to Comic Vic.
So there's loads that you mentioned. The whole past question, being in a relationship and being on the road,
Yeah.
right?
Not friends.
There is a code of conduct, I say. And one thing that I always think to myself is, are you gonna do something that if you saw your missus doing, you'd be vexed?
Interjection.
Bruh.
I have to say this. Carnival, as a whole...
Am I allowed to finish?
Wait. I have to interject. I'm sorry. I do apologize. But Carnival as a whole is ever so slightly broken. Because there are women
It's in a
wearing
silly-
things out there that, me personally, I want to prove my missus wearing on road. You see them with
That's a
these...
different argument.
No, but
Let him finish.
But this is part of Carnival. This is
got a point here.
this is the whole system. This is what Carnival is. As you said, you went to Carnival before it was called Carnival. So you understand that it's changed from what it was when it was in the church in Labrador Grove, where people come in and with their best Sunday best, long dress and dancing to 2 tunes, and they had no speakers. They just had a band in the corner, soca man singing calypso, telling a story, to now where you've got famous artists playing music and singing and whatnot. It's changed. So to now kind of have a CCC where you're saying you can go to Carnival,
What's the CCC?
Code
did
of
say it.
Conduct for Carnival.
Code of conduct for Carnival.
All right.
You know what I mean? Break it down from again, really.
Don't worry. The Bible's coming out soon. We gonna make one and pass it around. You're on the first page, a picture of you when you're whining when you're 4. But anyway,
Go on.
was-
But go on.
I literally was.
But go on. Continue those already.
to
Continue.
have one kind of rule for one to say, as a man, you can't dance with women and your waist can touch them, but your hands can't touch them. Or if somebody comes to you that knows you and they run up to you and they're like, oh, Citrus, I ain't seen you since we used to play pan.
Why citrus?
Walk up. And
I'm gonna come back to the point I was making.
Go on.
Right. So how you carry yourself is, are you gonna do something you wouldn't want to see your missus doing? And the answer is no. However, if you get caught in the conspiracy, that's the CCCC.
Yep.
Right. That's the
Code
whole
of
C.
conduct for Carnival. Yep.
Conspiracy. If you get caught up in the final C,
C's now.
no, the last C.
that's volume 2.
That's special occasion. If you get caught up in that, I'm on this, think 16 beats. Nothing more than 16 beats. So within those 16 beats,
Wait, say it slower because Jay's writing this down. He's
Jay, no, he knows.
I'm writing notes.
By the
I
time
see
you
his
get
moving
to
up
beat
quick.
12, you know I've got 4 more of these to go, and then you have to
Ease off the
ease
wine.
off.
So you get to the chorus and then you don't get to the next
What
one.
happens if you get caught in a pile-up?
You don't get caught in a pile-up. Unless you want to be in a pile-up.
Explain the pile-up, please.
So a pile-up would be where you might have the Soca train and the train collapse.
Accidentally on
And then
purpose.
when the train collapse, no one's moving. As in getting off. But the train is still trying to...
We don't stop this train.
Regardless it's come off the rails, the train... still moving. But you know, or you have a high understanding if you're going to get caught in a pile-up. And as old people now, we don't need to be in that.
Yeah, my hips don't.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, like, even at Carnival gone, and I'm there with my half foot, and I was there, catch a little wine, all right, cool. And I do the courtesy, double tap to say, I've had enough now, I'm just gonna keep it moving.
And so you literally tapped out.
Yeah, double tap.
Double tap.
He's not polite. Pure manners.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Hold little whine, double tap, keep going.
Double
And
tap.
That's definitely in the code of conduct.
yeah. So then that way, it's not rude to the female. It's not rude to yourself. You're not disrespecting your missus. Do you know what I mean? We're all cool. All of the angles are covered. Unless your missus said to you, you're not allowed to dance with chicks. And if you do dance with them, don't use your hands.
Shouts going out to Comic Vic.
You know what? We need to do it. All right, let's do some clarity on this hands thing. So right now,
I don't know about
people
the hands
out
thing.
there
I'm just
thinking
been told-
that you're doing cutting shapes while you're scrubbing.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to come to that.
I don't know about this.
I'm going to come to that.
Big fish, little fish.
Yeah,
I'm going to come to that.
What about big fish, little fish, cardboard
I
bud?
think somebody had an injury from that. I'm going to come to that in a second. So shout out to Comic Vic. Comic Vic says, and don't forget nowadays we have social media. So if you're in a relationship dancing with chicks, women, might not be the one. But Amina Akua says they broke their thumb in a pile up years ago. Oh Lord. So maybe that was them using their hands.
No, there was
that's different type of hands.
different. but in saying that, that's not even a joke. It's not even a joke.
Shout out Mr. Chris.
One of our friends nearly broke his leg
Yeah.
in a pile-up.
They had a good time though.
It severely enjoyed himself, but
One of his best memories.
nearly broke his leg.
Wow.
So he didn't break his leg then.
He'd have probably given a leg up for that event.
But couple carnivals, I've had my my big toenail crushed, where I'm not paying attention where I'm dancing, and the truck just rolled over my foot slowly.
Nah.
And it got to the point where you got 18 tons of weight and you can't pull your foot out of the underneath the wheel. You just have to wait for the slow truck to caress each one of the toes. You know what I mean?
You carry on scrubbing though.
Carry on dancing is only after when you start feeling the warmth.
Yeah.
In
But
the
in carnival, there's things you can't do. You can't lift your foot up. You can't stop.
you can't show
take your
pain.
shoe off. You just have to roll the shoe.
So, you know what? There's a question. I think this question is actually aimed at Buddy. So I'm going to direct it to Buddy. Lulu Fusion Life says, how do you whine without using your hands?
Oh God!
No. That's easy. It's easy.
I'm asking the question.
Buddy's an airbender.
Pure waistline. Pure waistline. Wait. Here's the answer. Pure waistline.
Wait.
And that's the position you have in it. That's the position you have. With pure waistline. Hands like that.
Too much back off.
Wait.
Oh, Lord.
We need to.
What did you say, buddy?
We need to take a moment because this is a complete revolution of Buddy. Seriously, am I lying?
This is the truth.
What did you say, Buddy? That needs to be a soundbite.
Why does it need to be a soundbite, bro?
It needs to be a soundbite.
Said
Say
it's
it
just
clearly.
Pure waistline, that's it.
He's on.
So, and to be fair, some of us have different skill settings. Do you know what I mean? So you can easily handle a whine with no hands. You can handle a whine
We still want to know what this no
where
hands
you
thing
could
is.
use the inside of your forearm, and this is where it gets technical. To usher the dance.
My man said the inside, like you're a bear.
Yeah.
Don't go to the Bears again.
No, you don't.
Trying to caress.
I got my drink. I got my drink in my hand.
Wrestling moves. These guys want to use.
I'm not
on the
spilling
road.
I ain't spilling my drink.
Yep, so
you know what I mean?
You're holding your
So
hand
I'm
and
using my
using your
forearm.
forearm. Okay.
Right, of course. But as I said,
Wow.
the evolutions of
I was
dance.
about to say, you are Darwin.
Bruv.
This is why people like him end up with an extra hand or the skin hair gets tough. Over the years, you don't realize why. Evolution.
So essentially, what it is, and I'll be very honest, when the liquor get inside of them, sometimes the behaviours change. And that's something I would always say,
But the thing is, all right, let's call a spade a spade. So when we're saying about this no hands thing, or with hands,
I'm not on this no hands with
yeah.
hands
So
thing.
what is it? What are we saying? Are we saying you can't? Where do you put your hands? You're whining with a girl on the
So
road.
Buddy will hold the back of his own neck.
Hold on.
Right?
Go on.
Yeah.
Because you're not physically allowed to touch a girl.
Because someone,
I've been quiet too long now.
because someone on the chat has said, hold on to the back of your head and push forward. That's Amina Aqua.
Thank you very much.
So
I'm not
that's
even
your-
reading the
that's your
live.
go-to, man.
There you go.
I never said it was Mike. Why are you?
All right, does anybody do this here? And if you're doing that, how sweet is it when you're doing that compared to if you have your hands on your side, like you're doing
Like you're not ready.
like you did back.
The Macarena.
Because the thing is, we're talking about where do you put your hands?
Yes,
It's polite
indeed.
when you're dancing with somebody, depending obviously the style of dance, that you hold a person, you support each other. Dancing.
But you know what? There's like, from the citrus rule book.
Yeah, go on.
You could do things like
Yep.
hold the female's elbows.
Okay.
Yep.
What
This does, it gives you full control, like you're operating
an android.
a machine.
A robot.
You can jump up,
Like you got Pinocchio in your hands
White
and
robot.
your name's Geppetto. So you can do whatever you want to do, but when you're ready, you pull the elbows in and you push them, and then she, by force, will move forward. But as I said, this all comes in time and depends on your skill level.
So is that what we would call an acceptable rule to put in the CCC?
Put it like this, there are wines where there's not even contact.
Oh yeah, but that's skill level, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
skill level.
That's still fun and enjoyment, but there's no DNA.
That's telepathy.
Do you get
when
what I
you're-
mean? Yeah, so what's the problem?
So is there a carnival or whining etiquette then?
You lot are
There
shining for this.
there are, and what someone said to me, which I actually agree with, but I can't disagree with the actions, is you shouldn't be seeing activity of dance on the road at carnival that you'll see in a nightclub 4 a.m.
Okay, I get that. I get that.
You think that's something that we should be that's the kind of
I think, yeah, some of the
But this is soca music.
One second, which is why,
No.
wait, 1 second. So let's forget girlfriends, wives, relationships, you being whatever age you are now. Let's date you back to your 20s, mid 30s, early 30s, and you're gonna
Early phase.
and not say you got a partner at this point. All right. You telling me that this whole non-doing dirty dancing thing is going to be cool?
I never said non-dirty dancing.
But you have to remember, there's a lot of different things there that you've thrown into
Thank
this.
you very much.
So, for example, when you're in your teens and you're learning your wine and you're learning your trademark wine and you're still not, you're like a little kid that's
I
learning to
never
walk.
said teens, by the way.
Okay, some people in their 20s.
And you learned how to dance later in your...
We didn't want to put it out there, but obviously you've now challenged the motive, so now we had to talk about it.
But yeah,
so
I never did soca, that's what I didn't do. But anyway, carry on.
you didn't know how
So
to
you're
wine.
whining into R&B.
Bruv, I didn't do soca, but
But let's move on. Don't dig the hole, brother. I'm trying to help you.
That was right.
Trying to help you here, brother.
it's okay.
Just
Sirelli.
keep moving.
It's okay, Sirelli.
Right.
Whining to hip-hop.
You know, I knew this was going to become a whole.
You just didn't let it go. So you're learning
That's
to
why
dance.
it's super shot. The S, the H, the A, the R.
Oh, Lord God. I knew this whole would be.
So you're learning to whine. And whining is a different skill to dancing to R&B, dancing to hip hop, or just dancing in general. It takes a particular part of your body, and as dumb as it sounds, you've got to have good balance. Because in theory, you're pushing forward, hoping that the person is going to see your force, counter your force, and give you enough so that you're still got perfect equilibrium and whine at the same time. Now, in a club, you could probably do that with your boys behind you or someone, or you might be able to handle this. But on the road, doing this while the truck is going forward, that takes a level of skill, unless you're chipping. For people who don't know what chipping is, it's that lazy walk you do where you're like kicking the ball with your feet, but not actually hitting the ball, just 1 foot, 2 foot, just 1 foot, and you try to do a little shoulder thing. It's called chipping. It's a dance you do when you're tired and you just want to follow the truck and look like you're still dancing. Now you can do that with a partner. You can chip with somebody and you just chip, 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 just a little, like a heartbeat. You just like pulsating. But when you want to scrub or have a good whine, that Buddy learned when he was older, and you're trying to do that whole thing and move at the same time, that takes skill. You genuinely need to have skill. The person you're dancing with needs to understand that whole rhythm of, because if not, I've seen Pure Man drop. We've been to raves, carnival, where people are trying to do the whole whine and not know their balance and not know how much strength to put. And the woman may take a little step forward and budoof, like Sid just said at the start, when they end up on a pile. Sometimes the pile wasn't intentional. Somebody drops and then somebody from far, pile up, and they jump on them before you know it. Hence why somebody got injured. There's 4 or 5 people on the floor whining and trying to do their thing. So it is. I know we make jest about it and whatnot, but it is actually a skill, and you can go and learn to whine. People watch YouTube videos to learn to whine before they go to carnival. We take these things for blasé because we're like, it's our culture. When you were young, you know, you're dancing with your mum puts you to stand on a foot and do the whole kind of dance with me and all that kind of stuff. So it has got more to it than just us laughing about it saying you're going to whine and dance with somebody. For me, I'm going to be honest with you, if you're dancing with somebody, I don't see nothing wrong with holding them. Obviously, I'm not going to pull you through like I'm going to pull you into my body, but there's nothing wrong with holding somebody when you're dancing with them. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're dancing to, I don't know, salsa, you're holding them.
Depending on where your hands go, though, bro.
All right, I don't know where you put your hands when you're dancing.
I'm just saying, bro. Why is it always me? You're going
Why
to point at me.
why you
You made the comment, bro.
I'm just saying it depends on where you put your hands, innit?
So where would you put your hands if you're dancing with
Why are
somebody?
you asking me? Why are you
Because you're marking the comment.
You don't want to talk the truth. Citrus, where do you put your hands? You don't want to talk the thing. It's acting shy today. Where do you put your hands when you're dancing with a woman when you're
If
whining?
she's facing me, small at the back,
And if she's facing away from you?
on the hips. On the hips, elbow, or I'll hold her hand.
If it's your partner, what's the difference between where you'd put it then?
My hand will be just under the navel.
Perfect example. So why can't you hold a stranger and not to her? There's everything has a level of, all right, this is a bit too intimate. This is a bit too. It's like saying you want to kiss somebody when you see them.
I suppose there's like an etiquette in it. You have an etiquette of. This is what I was saying. Is there an etiquette?
Well, do you
of
know what?
whining
I'm actually
or
gonna. I'm not gonna say who said it, but a female, a female that's close to me, said she was at carnival, and she don't like dancing with guys, but got caught up in the carnival hype. Was dancing with this guy on the Sunday, and she felt the boner in her back, and obviously that caught her off guard, and she tried to do the gentle kind of pull away, and then he's now becoming aggressive with the ting because he got the bone on. Do you get what I mean? So she switched, and then he's acting like, what? But obviously, it was a step too far. Do you get what I mean? So this is where it's like, this guy ain't here to just enjoy a dance. He's actually trying to rub one out. Do you know what I mean? And this is where the lines become completely blurred. So when Wiley says, it's not my culture, and then, I'm not saying this person was like Wiley, but that guy's like, well, I can rub up on girls and get a hard on, and it's cool.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's just like, well, no, that's not cool.
Because it's not what you're going to.
That's not your intention.
It's not can't. And I think that's, I've always equated Soca Carnival to fun. I look at it as it's the fun music, it's the fun dancing. It's never as much as if I think of the lyrics of the songs, there's always innuendo, never direct wording. And I always liken the dancing.
This is changing recently now.
I know.
Yeah.
It's become a lot more slack recently. But what I'm saying is that there was a bit, from what I recall of it growing up and everything, it was a lot of innuendo. The
Definitely.
dances was
The idea is that the music could always be played on the radio.
Yes.
And it tells a story of some sort.
Shouts out to Livy9111. She says, I think people are overthinking about this whining thing too much. Carnival only comes 2 days a year. There is no problem with being a little loose and enjoying yourself. And Lulu Fusion Life says, there is only a whining etiquette if someone is insecure or someone who could be super disrespectful.
I don't agree.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Why do you disagree?
Because it's not about, sometimes even the insecurities might even come from yourself, innit?
But it's also, as we said, the intent of the whiner or the whiny.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
The whiny,
You have to break that down and explain what you mean by that.
So the intent. So I might be thinking, oh,
Just a two-step
this
little dance.
I like this song. Nice chick over there. Let me go and have a quick whine and I'm gonna move along. She might be thinking, rah, that's the guy that I like, rare. I'm gonna do the most. And then all of a sudden, it's not a balance. It's not an equation. It don't feel, for me, and this is for me anyway, it don't feel right. Do you get what I mean? So I might be like, yeah, and you're definitely getting half a whine, and then I'm gone again.
But to be honest, doesn't matter. Can whine with an auntie. You don't even have to be a nice chick, but per se.
Yeah, it could be, but as I said, it's the intent, innit?
Yeah.
So He's gone there for a little. Let me just go, yeah. And then she's bent over, full bent over, and ass is up, and I'm like,
All
what?
of a sudden,
I never.
do you know what I mean? Now,
everyone's looking at you like,
so you're dancing with her normally, then she gets into the splits,
Bruh.
and
And
everyone,
puts her feet around you.
and then everyone is watching you like an idiot,
stand there.
and the chick is in the splits, and you're like, no, babe, just get up in it. It's cool, you know. You don't have to do all of that. And I was like, right, you ain't got that now. I didn't, old man. We a great beard and ballad. Me, I'm not taking that shame. I'm going out.
You're straight doing this.
I'm going into the splits. Indeed. We worry about that tomorrow.
Hold on, in this case, hold my rum.
We're worrying about this tomorrow.
So question: Is there any difference? And I put this in the chat as well for people trying to answer. Is there any difference to a soca whine versus a slow jam scrub versus a dancehall dance? And I'm talking about, you know, the dances where people are dancing with each other. Not
I get it.
I'll tell you what.
Intent.
Yes.
Intent
The
is my
intent,
answer.
hold on. The intent being you want to dance with somebody. What would you say the difference of the intents are going around the room?
The difference, I'll tell you straight away, is again, it comes down to culture and the fact of what soca. When you're doing soca whining and stuff like, and you start dancing with someone with soca, a lot of the dancing with soca within the soca scenes, it's no one's watching faces. Everyone's just dancing. Dance with an auntie, you dance with whoever you're dancing with. It doesn't matter because just
Even
the
dancing with my brethren's mum.
bruv, I don't care. Just cool. And the next, like, you know what I mean? It's so weird with soca. You're doing it in bashment. You're doing it with R&B and hip hop and that. It's like all of a sudden, it's, this is my girl for the night. This is me. I'm gonna get her number. I'm gonna draw her. This has always been because I've been on that. Scene.
1 second. Where's Jay smirking? Jay smirking like, you know that.
Because that's the thing. As soon as you get to that other scene that you're talking about, that's what you're looking for. You're looking number. I'm getting a number. You're drawing. When you come down to the soca scene is just about. I'm just here for the dance.
You know,
I don't really care.
you know. The funny thing is that I wish we had a mic because the way Jay, the producer, is just
Jay's-
over there,
he's ready to dive in.
ready to say something, and he wants to say something. But
Come,
he
Jay,
don't
well
wanna-
done.
Jamaica.
He's
So
Jamaican.
Jay is just Jay. I don't
All
know
right,
if you-
all right, all
I
right.
don't know if you can hear it on the mic, but Jay just asked Buddy what country you from. And Buddy, you said
Jamaica.
Jamaica. Okay.
And the
And then
disgust
Jay,
on Jay's face.
ooh, makes sense.
Basically, like, you know the soca scene is like,
He said, you know, the soca scene is very small,
Yep.
and because it's small,
it's not been infiltrated. It's not that popular. It's not been infiltrated by.
it hasn't been infiltrated by Jam Juve. Yep.
Yep. Jam Juve.
Been a lot of stuff happening there that it's not on culture. It's not
Right, yeah. So he said, so there's been an event, and it's a soca-based event. However, how the event has been portrayed isn't how a typical soca event would be portrayed because of the type of dancing and the type of
Crowd.
and
That's gone
we
there.
would say carry on in it, and crowd
attraction that's gone there.
is that's
It's
gone there
attracted-
is it's now
It's attracted
swayed.
non-soca people there.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
everyone from the small island said this is dancehall culture.
Mm.
You go to the Dominican dance and watch how stuff happen. It's not like what you see here. So what I'm saying is everything that gets popular attracts in a different element.
So what the producer's saying is that so culturally, if you look at dancehall as an entity and soca as an entity, what would be or what is perceived to be acceptable in dancehall, you wouldn't necessarily see it in soca and vice versa. But now we are getting this weird blend of crossover. And I do think to an extent, and to those that are ignorant to it, you're probably thinking it's all the same thing. But I do think to an extent, there's a part of it where it's sacred, and where I get the most delight out of it. So my family are from St. Lucia. Anyway, so my family from St. Lucia.
I didn't really like that.
And
On that note,
so as much as obviously we listen to soca, there's a very big zouk community and sukus community and kaiso community, and the type of dancing we will do to a very specific to this very specific type of soca blend or zouk blend, which obviously can be interpreted in West African culture as well, even East African culture. To be fair, the majority of Africa. But the type of dancing that you would do there, which you mix with soca, when a song comes on that is from this very specific part, I will purposely hold a partner and dance with her. And a lot of people will be like, rah, I don't know how he does that, because it's very, very unique. And to be able to do it, I feel like, all right, I've got something that I can do that, no disrespect, my Jamaican brethren can't do. Do you know what I mean? But I will do that. But that has got nothing to do with the whole slackness or this, that, and the other. I'm not saying it's that, but I'm just saying you won't, bend over, and all of this madness and whatever else. It's a little
People
bit
jumping off the
etiquette.
speaker box.
Do you get what I mean?
So would you say, because what I'm trying to get at is, it's not necessarily sexualized when it comes to soca, is it?
Some of it is. I'm not.
I think the whining I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the whining, yeah?
some of it is.
Coming that.
So would you say that it's
Some of it
sitting
is.
on a par with slow jam scrubbing and dancehall whining, or is it still totally
It's
different?
definitely on par with that.
It's on par.
It is on par.
The thing
Yeah,
the only difference is between the two, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
is just that in a soca dance, I don't care who I'm dancing. I don't. I'm just dancing. I'm going through. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even looking at face. I don't even know who I dance with. People go, "Oh, you dance with me?" I'm like, "Did I? I don't know." In the R&B, hip hop, and slow jam rave type of thing, I'm going.
Even the intimidation to go and dance with a woman.
Bruv, you're prepared.
it's different, innit?
You just and then you get there and you're like, boom, this is it. I'm in. There's a whole build up to it, and then you're in, and you're like, right. After the dance, I'm gonna get the number.
The crazy thing is, in a soca fet, I'll dance with one chick, and then when a tune switch, I'm dancing with her sister.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's a shorter, fatter version. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a comparison site on Wild One for the. But then I'm gonna dance with a brethren, and the mum might be standing behind. All of them gonna hold a whine. It's fine. Do you know what I mean? By the time 2 songs done, I'm gone again. Do you get what I mean? Where what Buddy's saying is in an R&B thing.
I know who that is.
You're not. If you dance with one girl,
That's my girl for the night.
yeah, if you dance with one girl or you're with your missus or whatever, you're not necessarily going to try and dance with a brethren, because culturally, that's not necessarily accepted.
So would and I suppose would those of us around the room, would we have an issue with our partner dancing with someone to soca versus dancing with someone to a slow jam versus dancing with someone with a dancehall tune? Is it the same level of
I said it at the beginning, intent.
intent?
Do you know what I mean? So intent.
The intent
If
is
I'm
it's
there,
not only a fun dance. You're
if
not there.
I'm there,
You're not there.
even if I'm not there,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you'd say that my partner's going to turn around and say, "Rah, I'm not going to allow no man to rub up on me like this." Do you get what I mean? And I'm not going to be rubbing up on no chick. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't do that. Because at the end of the day, as you said, you wouldn't want to do it anyway. But if you did do it, and then all of a sudden you're in Wiley's Snapchat video, and then you get home, babe, what's this? All of a sudden, stress. We don't need any of that jazz. So, allow it. Do you get what I mean?
I'm more on the ilk of what you said, like the 16 was it 16 beats?
16 beats.
16 beats.
And you're like, all right, cool. She's done a 16
So
thing
verse-
on a
verse,
soca
chorus.
thing. Yeah, so on a
Yeah.
soca thing, fine. And like I said, an R&B, hip hop, and slow jam world, no, I don't want to near it. Like, I don't know why, because I know the intent is different.
Intent,
Because
definitely.
I know straight away that one little dance, they're saying, I'm buying you a drink. They're saying, let me get your number. It's just the way, in that scene there, you're not dancing with just a little one, let me dance that one, let me dance with someone else. It ain't that type of scene. It's dance with her. If I dance with her, I'm drawing that. That's as simple as it is. In a soca scene, I dance with someone, I've forgotten you in probably the next 5 seconds. Don't even know who it is. Like, nor do I care. Like, it's that simple. I mean, I'm not saying that people haven't gone there and said, oh, I like this person, I'm going to dance with them and I'm going to stick with them. Of course they have, all right? But it's not always the case. It's usually a case of people just going next. They're just enjoying themselves. The girls themselves are just like, yeah, next. I'll just dance with your brethren. Now I'm dancing with you. Now I'm dancing with your other brethren. Now I'm like, rah, this girl's just on anything. It doesn't matter. And that's just the way that scene is. And that's why, if you're going to tell me if my girl goes to a soca rave and does it, I'm more like, all right, I'm cool, innit? I mean, know the 16 beats if you like. All right? Like, right, 16 beats, yeah? Don't go past the 2 songs. Because funny enough, quick side story, and I don't know if Citrus remembers, we went to...
Did you say a quick side story or book side story?
No, side story, brother.
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah, quick side story.
Go on. You see? Now you threw him. No, now you threw him. Because you threw him. No, you threw him. No. He said it right the first time. You've just thrown him. You've just thrown him. Go on, buddy.
Anyway, side story. There was a time we went to Dreamland, and I believe it was Dreamland. We was at some kind of juve. It was me, you, it was a load of us, and then my ex-missus was actually there at the time, and she was dancing with someone right next to me. All right,
Yes.
and you looked at her and said, "It's okay," and I was
Yes.
like, "Yeah, it's okay, fine."
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I mean, if he sat there and said, "Let me get the next 2 songs," I'm like, "Yo, brother, he's back. It ain't happening." But he was there for a one song. Do your thing, bro.
But if that was a slow jam,
Oh, no,
that would have been, or a dancehall tune.
Get off my woman, bro.
Okay.
Intent, as I said.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be my safety space.
Intent.
It's intent.
Tongo,
I'm
Sirelli.
different. As far as I'm concerned, my missus can dance with anybody to any music type. As long as the dance is not disrespectful to our existence or my existence, do your thing. I don't care.
So if I sit and I ask her to do the lambada, you're down.
Do your thing, bro. Lambada, that's even a sexy dance.
Alright then.
So the way you used to it.
You ain't seen where I do it.
I've got a VHS cassette at home that says you're totally wrong.
But
From what was it? The box?
1989 or something
It's
like that.
called the forbidden dance.
Brother.
The forbidden dance. Yeah.
He said, it's okay, leave him alone.
Shut up.
Especially when the guy was going down.
In that vein, the film Dirty Dancing, apparently the dancing in that film is dirty, right?
Yeah.
Do you any of you not think it's dirty dancing compared to what we know as dancing?
Will you speak for yourself?
No, go on. As a question. Views?
No, at the end of the day, it's as I said, culturally, and yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go right back to my original line of intent.
Intent.
It comes down to the intent.
This is your punchline.
Yeah,
for the day,
no,
you know,
I
intent.
think it does come down to intent because at the end of the day, when I think about it, if I'm gonna dance with a chick and I'm trying to grope her up or whatever else, my intent isn't this is a quick dance and 16 bars and blah, 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 or whatever else. Do you know what I mean? Versus if I'm gonna dance with an auntie, am I gonna try and grope her up? No, because it's an auntie. We're gonna have a little good time and go again. Like, he ain't gonna say it, I'll say it. Buddy's very first carnival with us, as soon as we got there, he was sober as shit. Do you know what I mean? Got there, it was about, I don't know, maybe just after 12 in the afternoon. He's like, why are we here so early? I said to him, wait here. I walked off, I found 2 aunties. They were both in their 60s or something. I said, listen, I got my brethren here. He's Jamaican. He don't know about soca.
It's his first carnival.
Go and give him a good time. I walked off.
The biggest
And
aunties.
stood back so proud because the auntie just went up to him, put one arm around his neck. He was standing stiff like lampposts. And then she just pulled him in and started dancing. He was just like, he was so happy with himself.
He was at the fun fair.
Yeah, he was so happy. But in doing that, after, he gave me that look like,
I love you, man.
looks like we made it.
I love you, man.
You broke my car.
So with that, all of that I suppose, and stop me anyway if I'm wrong, bud, but with that, all the taboo of what is the culture about, what is the dancing about of this woman's probably older than my mum. And not one, both of them came and danced with me. So all of the inhibitions that he was carrying just got dispelled immediately. Do you get what I mean? And while he's saying, I don't like soca, so you're not even going to get the experience.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But I'm not turning around and saying, if that did happen to you, you're not going to be, do you know what I mean, rabbit in the headlights. Do you know what I mean? You might be like, right, what's going on here? Okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm a cultured man. Let me give it a go. And as much as you may love it, hate it, or whatever, it was indifferent because there was no sexualization to it at all.
Fun.
All of that energy was just like, so this is it then. Do you know what I mean? Which is very different. However, now, especially with the younger ones, and I appreciate we're much older, innit? But with the younger ones, they might be saying, nah. If I'm holding a wine, I'm going to try and grab pumps.
Ross.
It's not a Ross, it's the truth.
Which brings me on to a point that was raised to me today when I was talking with someone about this particular subject. And one of the things that was raised up was that the Sunday used to be the day when it was you take your family and it was
Kiddies day.
It still is family day.
but it's now become so ram and so the level of the people going that are younger are no longer going with a fun intent. It's a lot more sexualized. That's what I was told. I don't know if that's the case or not, but you will be able to explain. Was that the case? Was that not the case? What's your
What
views?
I would say, and I'm probably going to hand over to Sirelli on this one, if you want to take your young ones, and when I say young ones, I'm like 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds to Carnival, find a band, join a band. They've got, like, you can bring your pushchair. Do you know what I mean? You can bring your little ones. They can all wear costume. It's great fun. Don't get me wrong, it's a bit much for the little legs, so walk with a stroller or a pushchair. But being in a band, you have the safety of security. There's obviously lots of adults around. There's lots of safety around. And the carnival route itself isn't as packed as Monday. So it's slightly safer. And bands treat it, the right bands, I should say, treat it differently. However, also on a Sunday, there's a separate part where you've got a different type of carnival that goes on, which is the paint, as you said, that we spoke about, and the oil and the powder and whatever else. And like lots of people in T-shirts, but these bands will then be contained to the roadside. And those bands may have 1,000 people in the band, 500 people in the band. And more often than not, it's quite nice and contained. And if you ain't got the right T-shirt, get out of the band. It's that simple. Now, with that, you still have the static sounds that have nothing to do with the carnival route itself on the road. So they're going to attract whoever they're going to attract anyway. Do you get what I mean? So it does depend on your intention. But I'm going to hand over to Sirelli because Sirelli went this year, innit?
So you've hit the nail on the head, you know, to be honest. The Sunday is family day. That's what it was initially. That's what it was designed to be. It was the day where you can bring your younger kids. So, for example, my son did costume this year. This is his second year of doing it.
And how old is he?
He's 4 years old.
Wow.
And
To give you scale.
he absolutely loves it. I mean, he's already looking forward to next year. He's asking me what's the costume color and all this kind of stuff. So it's an experience. It's part of his culture. I want him to understand it. I want him to have fun. I want him to see it through the eyes of somebody who goes through it. So when he does get of age and he sees all this, you know, Notting Hill and all this kind of stuff, that he knows firsthand that this is not what it is. They're pushing an agenda. So I wanted to experience it. Plus, as a kid, I went to Carnival in the Caribbean. Now, don't get me wrong. My parents weren't on me going to Carnival. I just said I'm going to the shop because we needed bread. But I went to the bakery that was on Carnival route. So I ended up coming home with paint or whatever on my face and trying to wash it halfway down the road. But it's an experience. It's a lovely experience. So, as Citra said, if you are going to go there on a Sunday, join a band, get a T-shirt, get a costume. There are loads of them out there that you can do. I jumped up with a Caribbean session.
Caribbean session. Shout out to CJ.
Absolutely.
We was with him Sunday and Monday.
Yes, absolutely. So if you do want to go with your kids, he's got a really good setup. As Citra was saying, you need a pushchair. He had a minibus so that if your kids get tired, you can go and sit on the minibus, not have to walk the entire route and stuff like that. So there are loads of...
Because for the little legs, it's just a little bit much, isn't it?
So my son fell asleep for like 2 hours.
Like 3 miles?
It's 3-point-something miles.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can imagine a child walking that kind of distance. At the beginning, it's all fun and games because it's music and it's whatever else. But for them little legs after a while, yeah, conk out. Do you know what I mean? And if you get it wrong, you're now carrying your
child.
7-year-old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Around this route, heavy as whatever. Yeah, no, that's not the lick.
But just, you know, we said do it and it's great fun. Just understand, and everybody knows their kids. If your child is someone who can't take big crowds or too much sensory overload, because it is.
Yeah.
There are colours, there are costumes, there's music, there's
loud
people.
music, there's lots of people.
It's a lot. So if they can't take all of that, it'll be too much for them. But if your child is the type of child that sits at home singing and trying things and mashing up things and screaming, they will love it. They will come home a different child, looking forward to it. And then there's a lot of cameras on the Sunday, so you might even get an opportunity to see your child on TV. It's that kind of environment. So I wholeheartedly support it and say, if you haven't done it, do it. Probably baptize yourself on a Sunday before you decide to do the whole
Don't
Monday.
take your child on Monday.
Yeah. Definitely don't take your child on Monday.
Shouts out to Lulu Fusion Life. She says, it is sexualized. I saw it. It was terrible. But what Citrus is saying is right. Join a band is the best way of doing it. She was with Funa Tickles with her little one.
Fanatic Mass.
Okay. And she said the kids love it. So, do you know, the thing is, I think the main thing I wanted to try and explore with this conversation was there's a lot, I say a lot of negative press, but it seems to be a lot of negative press about the carnival from people who don't necessarily go to carnival.
Or understand it.
And that's the thing. And that's what I wanted to try and understand. I mean, my perspective, I've got no negative thoughts on carnival. I loved carnival when I used to go to it.
So you're coming carnival next year in costume, yeah?
Nah, I'm not in costume. No way. No way.
We got some feathers for you, brother.
Hell no. No. I know certain man who, in our groups who would be wearing feathers, but that won't be me. No, that won't be me. Definitely not me.
What,
but
not even for the podcast?
Certainly not for the podcast. Certainly not for the podcast. But, you know, going into like the last couple bits for the podcast, I want to try and get some closing. You know, it's not even about closing views of what we've talked about. What just your closing statement about carnival, the culture, where you see it going, just your views, your closing views. Let me start off with Tongo.
If I can, my legs make it, I'm gonna try and go carnival till I die, that's for sure. I've been going carnival every year since I was about 4.
Wow.
I think I've missed it twice, maybe 3 times. And one of those times because my nan passed away, R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
On Carnival Monday.
Do you remember?
You remember that?
We was
That
on
so
we was
mad.
on the way to carnival.
We've got our
Route
it's
innit?
changed a bit. We got a routine for carnival. We link up, we go for breakfast. These men buy their drinks. We'll travel to carnival, whatever means, whether we're going in car, going on transport. We touch carnival. Wherever we join it, we're going anti-clockwise to the clockwise carnival. Simple rules, works every time. This time, we had our breakfast, went and got the drinks. In the petrol station, I got a call from the family.
Station.
Got a call from the family. Now to the hospital, come now. Come now? Yeah. I'm like, but I'm going carnival. What do you mean come now? I can't lie. Guys, I love carnivals that much that I was so torn about, well, no disrespect. Sorry, Nan. My nan's passed now. Me coming now, what difference is it gonna make? I'm about to go carnival and come back. I still said, nah, I can't do that. So I went to hospital, cool, but yeah. But for that, part of carnival for me now is in memory of my nan and in honor of my nan. So I'm gonna be going there till I die for that reason alone.
Okay.
The fact that I love it is just an extra bonus.
I'm about to say, that's low, man.
That's
That's
the real reason. That's the real reason.
extra bonus.
That's the real reason. That's the real reason.
But yeah, if you don't know about carnival, I would say talk to someone who actually been there, done it, or is involved in it. Do your own research. Forget these mainstream propaganda newspapers and online journalists and all these things. Look into the culture of it, what it means, how it started, why it started, all these things, and you should have a different outlook. And if none of that proves you, just go. Just go. At least once, go. That's it.
Thank you very much, Tongo. Sirelli.
Go carnival. It's the best thing you'll ever do in your life. Nah, in all honesty, seriously, all jokes aside, it's one of those things. You know, like if you go to Mexico, for example, there's Chichen Itza, I think it is one of the only pyramids that you can still walk up or something like that. And they're like, look, if you get the opportunity, do it now because in a few years,
They're not gonna let you on.
you're going to let you on. For me, carnival is that. Carnival is, the carnival we went to when we were in our teens is not the carnival it is now. I remember there was a year we dressed in bright yellow, luminous worker suits and went from band to band, taking pictures, dancing, having the time. I lost maybe a stone that day, but having the time of my life. And it was one of the best memories I've ever had. Now, I know that carnival's still good now, but it wasn't that. Now, if you don't go, and this sounds like one of those kind of scaremongering, but if you don't go now or soon, the carnival that you will have in 4 years from now is not going to be this. It's going to be something where you stand back and you look at it and a couple of people go past and whatnot, it won't have that same thing, especially if they put it in Hyde Park. Because I don't even know how that's going to work. Carnival is something that goes round on the route. I don't know if they're going to have it going around or if they'll just have static.
Be like a parade, innit?
Yeah, like a parade. I mean, for example,
And have carnivals in America.
yeah, carnival in even Mexico or Brazil, it's an actual show and people just stand up and you go past. That's not carnival. That's not carnival. I'm not coming home drunk with paint down the side of my face with one shoe missing, so just, and your shirt back to front or even somebody else's shirt going home. That was carnival. And by the way, there's one thing Citrus missed. His family lives in carnival area and on carnival route. Wow. So we used to have a respite to go and recoup and then come back out. Sometimes we never made it back to East from the Sunday or even sometimes from Panorama. We would stay the whole weekend and just live that carnival life. It's only 2 days a year. It's the only time you get to listen to soca that's not, you hear commercial as well, but you get to hear more of soca. You get to hear the stuff that you won't hear on radio anymore. It's so, experience it, do it. Like I said, for your first time, join a band, live the full experience, and then make judgment. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But at least you can say, I've made a decision having all the facts and figures about carnival.
Thank you very much, Sirelli. Buddy.
Well, enjoy carnival. Carnival is something that I've come to terms with enjoying. Don't so much listen to a lot of the propaganda that was put out there in front of the, like, for the newspaper and the mainstream. It was a lot of my growing up, a lot of time I spent missing out on it because of listening to this person gets killed, that person gets stabbed, this person's in beef. And it put me off. And I thought, I don't want to be another statistic, so I've got no need to go out there. I've had some of my most fun's been from carnivals. I've been to ones abroad. And it's very touching on some of Sirelli's points about it changing. Yeah, there are things that have changed. I went to Rotterdam Carnival this year, and they introduced a no dancing rule. Like, you're not allowed to dance with.
Oh yeah, I remember you said that on the podcast.
Yeah, they're not allowed to dance.
You said that on the podcast as well?
What, no hands or no dancing?
No dancing. You're not allowed to dance with other people. They incur fines. Apparently, there's someone.
Wow.
I remember you said it. Yeah.
So
I'm so glad I was on crutches. I couldn't go.
So when I look at what they're doing, like when you're saying they might be changing, they want to put it into Hyde Park. I went to Miami Carnival. Miami Carnival had it inside of an arena. We paid to go in an arena, then you're literally supposed to just watch them go past. I was like, well, that's not carnival. So knowing what we've got and how much we get to enjoy our carnival where it is now, I sit there and think to myself, embrace it and enjoy it, you know what I mean? When it comes to relationships and being in it and dancing with someone and not dancing with someone, a lot of it comes down to understanding, innit? And some people don't understand it. And out of respect for people's partners, you always have to turn and say to yourself, you know what, if my partner doesn't understand it and believes a certain way, then understand that. Because I personally came from an R&B hip hop bashment side before I got onto the soca scene. And if you turn and said to me that my missus was going to do that when I was a part of that scene, I'm not on it. Don't dance with no one. In fact, it's going to be the breakup of our relationship because I'm not interested in it. So I have to understand that. And now being on the soca scene and seeing how it's like, oh, it's fine now because I understand it, but they might not if they're not a part of that scene. So you got to respect that. So again, yes, I suppose Citrus word for the night was intent. Yeah, it's intent, but it's also understanding as well what people are culturally into and what they accept. One person in the room, I suppose, Wiley, he's not into soca at all. You know what I mean? His missus now says she's on the soca scene and she's walking up and everybody's like, yo, hands, no hands, whatever way you want to dance, all right? And he's thinking to himself, what type of sketel's doing this and da-da-da. I'm not on it.
Man said sketel.
He would probably just turn and say, I'm not on it. This is not what I want my missus to be, and it'll cause a breakup or cause an argument. So understand that, innit? And I've come to terms with understanding things like that because you just got to understand who your partner is and whatever else not. So I'd say if that is a situation that anybody else is in, understand, talk to your partner and see what they're into, and make them understand. If they don't understand, then you need to kind of understand where they're coming from. But in regards to carnival, it's culture. And I would always say to everybody, enjoy it and be a part of the culture and a part of something that's big and growing and hopefully it maintains the way it is rather than it changing to something like Hyde Park.
Thank you very much, buddy. Citrus,
Yo.
the closing statement.
Yeah, my one is, Buddy tried to steal my rhythm as well. I said about intent. And I think intent means a lot. It captures a lot of what I'm trying to deliver when I talk about dancing at carnival. But the beautiful thing is bring your partner to Carnival with you. Do you know what I mean? If you're uncomfortable with them dancing or you dancing or whatever the case is, bring them with you, share the culture, do you know what I mean? Get them to understand what it is that you like, what it is that you enjoy. And it's not necessarily just big loud sound systems and music playing and hips gyrating and whatever else. There's a big food culture there. There's so much going on. It's like an adult's theme park. Do you know what I mean? There's so much going on. And what I believe is you can get out of Carnival what you put in. So there's some people who have already started preparing for next year's Carnival. Soon as Monday finished, next year's Carnival has already been prepared for. Do you know what I mean? So silly things, and I'm going to talk about 3 things that happened this year. Well, 2 things that happened this year, 1 thing that happened previously. We arrived at Carnival, we arrived pretty late. I'm on the hop along flex. Strapped up my ankle, put deep heat, ibuprofen, all those sorts to try and deal with my swelling. And we were walking through and we saw one of our friends, he's got a food truck. Randomly, the electric broke on his food stand, sorry. Now he's prepared all his food and he ain't gonna be able to make no money. So coincidentally, we walked past at the exact time, at the exact location that he's at, as soon as the electrics went down. Sirelli's got a background in, you know what I mean, as an electrician. And it was just like, yo, let's jump in and fix the problem. He was so stressed out because to him, he's prepared so much to make this day happen the way he wants it to happen. It's in a good location and it weren't gonna happen. So we just jumped in. Myself, Sirelli, Buddy, Ghost, jumped in, boom, boom, boom. Eventually, we've got power again. He was like, thank you so much, because he knew if there was no power there, they was making no money. Do you get what I mean? Now, I know that sounds mad, but him being there enhances someone else's culture, someone else's cultural experience, I should say. Do you get what I mean? Yep. And it's all of these small little moving cogs that make the whole carnival make sense. Do you understand? From the guy with the sound system to the guy in the food truck, or the woman with a little drink stall, or the people using their toilets at £5 a pop. You know, all of these things play a part to the whole cultural carnival experience. So if you then remove it from Notting Hill and slap it in a park, then what happens with all of that? Do you get what I'm saying? Is it all then taken away? Is it all diluted? Is it all now, let's control it and monetize it and really take it away? And one thing that I would say is, especially in our Caribbean culture, I'll say probably in black culture, anytime we've got something, we always allow someone to come and just take it away. Do you know what I mean? Without putting up a fight to say, no, this is ours. And we're going to keep hold of it. Yeah, or influence it. We're going to keep hold of it and it's ours. And we're going to try and keep within the guidelines, but still have our representation how we traditionally have always done so. So that's the first point. The second point, which I wanted to raise, is when I must have been about 23, 24, going to Carnival with Sirelli, we was on escalators. And I remember I was like, right, top of the escalators, we're going to be at Carnival. Yay! So happy. Sirelli was happier and threw a whole bottle of drink full of rum from the top of the escalators, and I was halfway down. I had to do a Super Bowl 1974 catch in the end zone to stop this bottle from dropping. Now, I caught the bottle around the neck of the bottle like it was a circus act. I had to pretend it was cool. I just opened it like to say, yeah, it's fine. The way my heart was beating, because if I never caught it, the way it would have just licked me in my head, right? However, as funny as that is, when I go to Notting Hill, that's a memory that's very strong in my head. And that's part of my carnival to say, oh yeah, young, dumb and stupid. I remember this part, which was part of that cultural, it brings me to a happy place in my life, which is why I like going carnival. So like Tongo, like I had damaged, messed up foot, still went. Everyone's saying, oh, I don't think you're going to make it this year. I don't think you're going to make it this year. Don't put your energy on me. You know, I'm going to do what I need to do. So there's that. And the final thing that I'd like to say, what I loved about it, is just seeing so many happy people in the same space at the same time. And it's so rare nowadays to have all of us smiling, happy, enjoying ourselves to something that really brings true happiness, even if it is for that one day or that 2 days or the entire weekend, or for some of us that are raving from the Wednesday through to the Monday. Do you know what I mean? It's whatever it is. And to be able to get something like that, I think it's one of my favourite times of the year. And would I try to replicate that to do something else and try and force it? No, I won't. And if I can keep doing it, would I? Yes, I will. And that is my summary.
Well, shouts out to everyone who's been following on the live. There's loads of different comments from different people. Shouts to Livy9111 who says Carnival is life. Lulu Fusion Life says, well, let me go back to Amina Akura, who says Carnival is not the same as when we was in our 20s. And Lulu Fusion Life says, I disagree. Carnival is still the same. You just need to be around the right people and band. Loads of people logged in, logged on. Thanks to all of you that are logged in and logged on. Don't forget to follow us on the eMpTy Podcast on Instagram. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe the YouTube page, the eMpTy Podcast. We're also on SoundCloud and loads of other different things. Make sure you follow us on everything. This has been the eMpTy Podcast. And if the glass ain't half full,
It's empty.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.